welcome to Car Pervert. I'm Johnny Smith. Today I'm driving the Volkswagen T-Roc Cabriolet, the artist formerly known as the Golf Cabriolet. What? And I'm going to put my sunglasses down. I'm sorry, but I'm going to. And I'm going to put the roof down because I can at speeds up to 19, and I'm doing 18. So let's try it. Could be embarrassing if it fails. There we go, sweet. Convertibles. Britain loves them, Switzerland loves them, and perhaps nobody else in Europe loves them. And there's an important story behind that, because sales of convertibles have gradually been in decline. I'm not going to say extinction, but they've gradually been in decline since 2007. And that might explain something really important here, because you're probably looking at the T-Roc going, I don't really know what the T-Roc is. Well, this car is now the only convertible you can buy from VW. The only convertible you can buy from VW. No Beetle Cabriolet. No Golf Cabriolet. No Golf Cabriolet. Did you just hear what I said? No Golf Cabriolet exists anymore. They quietly killed that off, didn't they? In 2016. What a shame. They facelifted it in 2015, at the beginning of 2016, and then they killed it at the end of 2016. And we're left with this. This is a high-rise SUV-ish thing. The T-Roc is an SUV. And they decided to turn it into a convertible, which I'm a little bit skeptical of, given that I haven't even done 50 miles an hour in it yet, and it already feels a bit wobbly, actually. This is not a four-wheel drive car. This is a front-wheel drive car. You can buy it in two engine flavours, and that is a 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo or a 1.5 TSI petrol turbo, which is what this is. And you can buy this car with either the DSG gearbox 7-speed or this, the 3-pedal. I don't know why we like convertibles in Britain, really, because we have the most unpredictable weather, and you can only realistically use a convertible about 15 days out of 365 here. But there's something magnificent about the escapism of a drop top. I blow hot and cold with convertibles. I've owned several. I've owned a VW Golf Mark 1 convertible, which was a glorious car. Did you know that back in February 1979, aside from the fact that I was born, they launched at the Geneva Motor Show the Volkswagen Golf Carmen Cabriolet, which went on to be one of the longest running models in VW's history. And it doesn't really feel that much higher than a Golf. That ultimately comes down to mostly how you adjust your seat. Let's just check that, actually. I've got the seat on. Yep, seat's as low as it can go. My parents have got a Golf convertible, and they really love it. And they're in their 70s. Would they like this? Actually, they probably would. That's it. As you get older, you crave vehicles that are easier to get into, that may be slightly elevated driving position. SUV/crossover. You want a bit of drop-top action. That's what this is. That's what this is. Old person's drop-top. Driving through a leafy village. I feel like this is the native home of the T-Roc Cabrio. Cruising speeds, pottering. Now VW say, well, the sales of cabriolets dwindled, of the Golf and of the Beetle. Cabriolets are historically quite an expensive car to make, tool up for. They require lots of differences. But the Golf was available already as a 3-door, 2-door, and the T-Roc isn't. It just doesn't feel as well engineered as a Golf convertible that I remember. And I'm looking at the price. These things start at just over £30,000. I think this one as tested is about 35. And I'm going, that's quite a lot of money. It's quite a lot of money for a car that is slow. The ride's a bit fidgety to me. If you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, this is a bit different, an SUV convertible, they're not the first to do it. Land Rover claimed to be the first to do it with the Evoque convertible, which went on sale at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. But they weren't the first. No. No, because you had the Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet, I think it was called, the Nissan Murano. Do you remember the Murano? Like a sporty, luxurious SUV. That actually was quite a good car. But the Evoque convertible is no longer in existence. It only sold for 2 years, I think. I think they killed it off in 2018. But what's funny about it is I actually thought it was really good. I thought it looked stunning. I think it looks better than this. When you make a convertible, you've got to strengthen it because you're chopping bits out of it, like the roof. So this car's heavier than its sibling, its SUV sibling, which is a 5-door, remember, a 5-door practical booted family thing. So it's 194 kilos heavier than that, but yet it's a 2-door. But yet it's actually longer with a longer wheelbase. It's a strange beast. I keep feeling it. I can feel it flexing. And I'm not even trying hard. Oh, look. It's a slightly, ever so slightly, dirty track. The sort of thing you could do in your soft road cabrio. So let's do it. It's significantly higher ground clearance, you know, you can see that. They've really emphasised the gap between arch and tyre here, and I think these are 19s. 225, 40, 19. So you've got 19-inch wheels, higher ground clearance. The side profile is actually one of the nicest bits about it. I think this haunch here is very cool. You've got a crease that goes all the way down there, then this haunch to emphasise this rear panel. I don't think it's unattractive. In fact, from all angles, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. I mean, fake exhaust holes, but par for the course these days. Front end's good. This grille with the kind of waves, the DNA looking waves. This has got the R-line trim levels, so don't be fooled into thinking that they all look like this. This means different bumpers front and rear. This means different upholstery inside with the R motif. R steering wheel. Doesn't really mean any more power. It's 150 PS, 1.5 turbo petrol, and if you don't want that engine, you can get a 1 litre. So none of your options are particularly quick. This is a 10-second to 62 car. Because it's a convertible, of course, it's not a hatchback anymore. This is where the roof ends up sitting when it's dropped. The boot is 284 litres in size and it's down here. So let's have a look. And inside, it's actually a big space. And the hole, the aperture that you put the stuff in, is surprisingly good. So that's 284 litres. The Evoque is 251. I say is, it was. It's not made anymore. But that's actually quite good. That's the wind buffeting thing that you put behind the front seats. I never bother with those things really. Can't be bothered. And also look. You can put those seats down because it's a 4-seater. You can drop those and fit stuff through there. I mean, my old man uses his convertible for all sorts of trips to collect trees from the garden centre and all kinds of weird stuff. So there is a level of practicality to them, actually. I am going to wear sunglasses on this test because otherwise my eyes will burn out of my face, and you don't want that. Well, if you do want that, you're a horrible piece of work. There's a washing machine. That's what I like about cruising through country villages. You just get to see a bit of everything. Washing machine on a front lawn, honey for sale, all the usual. Okay, this is 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. Here we go. Second. Ring it out in second. Yes, 60. There you go, 62. When you really press on in it, it's got a bit of poke. It's 150 horsepower, but it just doesn't feel like it wants. It's not a car that feels like it wants to be pushed around, especially when we get into some corners up here. This is quite a twisty B road. It doesn't have that dynamic that the Golf has. I'm missing the Golf. So VW used to make the EOS, which was the metal roofed Golfy thing, and they made that for 9 years. That's no longer with us. The Beetle Cabriolet, that's no longer with us. I can feel the weight of this car. It can't hide this bulk. Look, there you go, there's a British convertible owner just here. What's that, a 307cc? Or a 308cc? I can't quite read it. They looked a bit boaty, all of those. When the Evoque came out, the convertible Evoque in 2016, spring 2016, you could buy it. That was, for the basic model, 47.5, so about 50 grand. And you could buy it with the 240 horsepower petrol, or you could buy it with the turbo diesel engines. Second hand, prices of those right now, I checked, are around about 30 grand. Oh, what a coincidence. About 30 grand. About what this costs now. Land Rover said they brought out the world's first all-terrain convertible. Well, they didn't really. You could have a coach-built Range Rover built back in the 80s or the 70s. You could have a Suzuki SJ in the 80s. The Freelander in the 90s, the first gen Freelanders has had a cabriolet lift-off back. I'm just a little bit surprised that Volkswagen are entering into a market which, to all intents and purposes, hasn't worked, because Range Rover discontinued the Evoque Cabriolet. Presumably it was expensive, and although it was good looking, didn't sell that well. And if the sales of a Golf convertible and a Beetle convertible have dwindled, why would this be more attractive than those? Really? I mean, the Beetle doesn't sit low. It's not a low-slung car. It's a sit-up-and-beg Pikachu thing. Convertibles. Hot work. Very hot work. I want a disclosure in here, in this video, which I feel strongly about. And that is, I don't normally drive convertibles with the side windows up, because I think they look gash. But for the purposes of actually having a chance of you hearing me on a microphone, I've put it all up. In order to make the T-Roc a convertible, they've gone and done, you know, just little things like made it a 2-door from a 5-door and made framed doors into frameless doors, and obviously it's a completely different door. There's so many panels that are different. In fact, I reckon the only things that are the same are the dash and the front grille, the bonnet, the lights, maybe rear bumper, rear lights. All of the side pressings, I bet, are completely different. Floor pans were strengthened, sills are strengthened. I've gone underneath it and had a look. There's some strengthening bars here and there. All that work. And yet, it doesn't feel that special. It's still made by Karmann in Osnabrück. And of course, Karmann have been making Volkswagen convertibles since the 50s. Beetles, Karmann gears, Mark 1 Golf, the other Golfs, and the Corrado. So there's a rich history with Karmann putting this thing together. Oh, there's another convertible, look. We're so British. 1 or 2 nice days a year, just rip the roof off and get out there. Oh, the smell of grass. Oh, now that is nice. One thing that I hadn't fully remembered was that in a convertible, it turbocharges your hay fever. So I'm trying to be professional and not let my nose drip, but I've really got the pollen's being force-fed in here whilst the air's being force-fed into that 1.5 TSI. You can't buy this in four-wheel drive. There is no 4Motion. So if you genuinely want the kind of off-roady, roughy-tufty cabriolet, this is not the car, really. I mean, you had the Suzuki X90. Yeah. That was a bit of a Dennis Rodman, that car, because it was actually a really strong, rugged, capable thing, but it just a bit of a sort of strange cross-dresser. The design boss of VW, Klaus Bischoff, called this the highly expressive, almost cheeky design. Yeah. I'd say the Beetle convertible is probably more cheeky. You put your plastic flower in the vase. Hey, get a really late model Beetle convertible, body lift it, knobbly tyres, make yourself a Baja convertible. There's a convertible, a Ford Focus CC. This is turning into like a rubbish convertible Safari. I feel like the Troc Cabrio is a step too far in terms of compromise. It's just trying to be too many things, and it's not brilliant at any of them. You've got to put a key in ignition to start it, which feels quite foreign these days. You've got the optional 10-inch TFT screen, which was first seen on the Audis, and I had it in my e-Golf, and that's a really nice touch. You've got a bit of body-coloured panelling here on the dash, the accents which go down into the centre console. It's fine. But I'm a little bit annoyed that fine has replaced brilliant. When I say fine, I mean okay fine, not that is a fine example, just so you know. So that's it then. The Golf convertible's gone, the T-Roc convertible's here. I finished that drive and I was cross, and I'm like, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay about the fact that the Golf's gone and it's been replaced by something high and slightly wobbly and slightly lazy. It's not good enough. So I immediately got in the car and I drove to find this, one of the very last of the Golf convertibles on sale in Britain right now, because I want to remind myself of how great they are, and is it our fault for not buying enough of them, the fact that they seem to have died. Here I am in Essex wearing the same clothes, even though it's a different day. This car is for sale right now for under 15,000 quid. I'm going to go and drive it, and I will put the seat up if I want to feel like I'm driving something higher. Because let's face it, you're not going to go off-road in this, just like you're never going to go off-road in a T-Roc, Troc thing. I saw this and thought, I can't finish the T-Roc review without bringing this car up, without revisiting this car, because there's something really good about it. Even in like non-sporty form, this is 122 horsepower, 1.4, not particularly big wheels, white, nothing fancy. I've picked the moodiest day of the year. It's rained and then it's been sunny every 10 minutes. Is it our fault that we didn't buy enough of them, or is it because the world has changed and manufacturers think everything has to be SUV flavoured now? But I've driven this car for about 5 miles now, and I can already tell you it's tighter, I prefer the seating position, it's more engaging. I could have gone for like a 2013, 2014 with a Golf R option, or maybe a Golf GTI convertible. But you know, look, if you're out there looking to buy a T-Roc Cabrio, you're looking for a fairly easy listening convertible experience. And that's what this kind of an engine is, this kind of a spec. SE 1.4. But the roof goes up and down at the same amount of time as the T-Roc. The boot is the same size as the T-Roc. The suspension is better than a T-Roc. Do you only miss these things when they've finally gone? Because the Golf's gone. In Cabrio form, it's dead. It died years ago. Really quietly. Like a cat. Apparently they go and die somewhere quiet. So you could go out right now and you could spend, well, less than 15 grand or even less than 20 grand and get yourself a very late Golf Cabrio. I think it's starting to rain again. I'd love to tell you I drove straight here after driving the T-Roc and got in this car, but about a week's gone by because I needed to find this and get the insurance sorted, and you know. But I've worn the same clothes for continuity, and if I hadn't told you that, you'd never know. The Golf is just so much nicer in corners. It just drives better. I prefer the way the chassis is behaving. I prefer the suspension setup. I know this stuff is a bit more old-fashioned. Ignore this specific spec just for a second. Just think about this rationally. You know, it's rather good, and it's rather much cheaper than a Troc Cabrio. It's probably going to rain and thunder in a minute. They just work so well. They just do. If it starts to lash with rain, well, the roof goes up in the same time as the T-Roc convertible, 9 and a bit seconds. And if you watch this review and you decide, actually, instead of a T-Roc Cabrio, I'm going to buy one of these second-hand and pocket the change, or I'm going to just buy an Evoque convertible, which is arguably a more exclusive car that can actually go all-terrain, let me know. This is so British. Driving with the roof down when there's really angry grey things in the sky that want to upset your fun. Why isn't it working? Why? Here we go. Please work, because that's it. That's it. I'm doing under 18 now. I could just stop, but you know, modern busy world and all that. Thank you to Beadles in Chelmsford, Essex for letting me borrow this car. Thank you for watching Car Pervert. I have been Jonathan Smith, and I am the Car Pervert. And I do want you to subscribe and like and subscribe and also like.